when I play Blood Bowl and upload them to YouTube, I usually comment on what I'm doing, but I've also realized that to actually understand what I'm doing, you kind of have to know a bit about Blood Bowl, and it's been a really long time since I made a video where I explain all my actions and also explain why I'm doing said actions and what the roles are and how it works. So this video is hopefully gonna be me playing a multiplayer game against some random dude on the internet, and I'm gonna try and explain, well, everything I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I'm definitely gonna miss a bunch of things, and this is gonna probably be a long video. I don't think you're gonna have to watch all of it unless it's really interesting, which it might be. And I might even not upload a whole finished game. I'm not really sure. I'm flying by the seat of my pants, basically. But I thought I should play with my pretty fresh human team here that I made to practice some 40-second game turns. We are not going to play 40-second Blood Bowl. We're going to play normal, regular, old Blood Bowl. So we'll see how that goes. But I do have a pretty standard lineup. I do have an extra ogre here. Well, I say extra. He's not actually extra as such. I have, let's see, 12 players. I've got all the 4 blitzers. If you're playing humans, I recommend, especially if you're starting out, I recommend 4 blitzers, a thrower, a catcher, and some linemen. Pretty much. I'm not sure I would be playing with the catcher at all times, depending on what type of human team I would buy. But if you're trying to learn the game, they're really good because they offer you a chance to do a pass play, which is pretty difficult otherwise. And it also offers you a way to think about how strength works in this game. We can see here that the movement allowance on our players, most of them, our blitzers have movement 7. That means they can move 7 squares on a turn. The catcher is really fast, got movement 8, and everyone else is 6. Of the ogre's a bit slower. Strength, it's 3 across the board, which is the normal strength in Blood Bowl, except for the catcher that has strength 2. I'll explain what that actually means once we get into the game. Agility 3, that just means how good they are at handling the ball and dodging away from people, which, once again, I'll explain once we get into the game. The ogre is slightly worse at this than everyone else, but everyone else is pretty bog standard. Think Mario and Super Mario Brothers 2 when it comes to handling the ball. Armor value, you can basically look at this as how easy it is to get hurt if your player gets knocked down. 8 is pretty standard as well, 7 is a bit lower, and 9 is a bit higher. I'm saying pretty obvious things right now. We have 3 rerolls, which means that every half we are allowed to reroll a die result, swap it out for another one. And we have an apothecary, which allows us, if one of our guys get injured, we can decide to, no, I want to reroll that injury, and if it's badly hurt, then that player gets back into the game in the next drive, basically. I'm already like, oh, am I explaining things well enough? Who knows? After a while, it gets really difficult to judge what's obvious when it comes to Blood Bowl and what isn't obvious. So at any point, if you have any questions, post them in the comments or YouTube, or follow me on Friday Night Blood Bowl when I stream Blood Bowl live, or on Sundays where I also usually stream Blood Bowl, and just ask them in chat, and I'll usually answer. So here we go. I'm going to look for an opponent and see if we can find someone. Might not be anyone that plays Blood Bowl on New Year's Day. Oh, but there is. Oh, now I dated the video too. Okay, so this is the first screen. We compare team value. As you can see, ours is a bit lower. This means that we get the difference in team value we get in thousands of gold pieces. We get 70, so we can use that money to buy what's called inducements, and there's a whole bunch of them. If you get a lot of money, you can hire a star player, which is an extra good player for the game. If you there are some other things you can do as well. I'm not going to go into all of it because I explain it in some of my other videos. However, with only 70k, all we can get is a Bloodweiser Babe, which is going to help us if our players get knocked out. I'm going to have a look at this. We're playing against a Chaos Dwarf team. Chaos Dwarfs are known to being... They're pretty slow and they hit hard. So this might be a very scary matchup for us. Luckily, we have managed to get some block, which is a very useful skill to have against bashy teams. And when I say bashy, I mean a team that uses their strength, first of all, to... rather than running around with the ball, they want to hit the other team so hard that most of the players get knocked out and roll around on the floor, basically. They only have 2 rerolls, whereas we have 3. We can see that down here, and this is the symbol for the apothecary. Same, no cheerleaders or assistant coaches, which you shouldn't have. Don't ever buy them, it's not worth it. And this is our Bloodweiser babe here. I think that's about it. So we'll hopefully we'll get into game soon. Okay, here we go. This is just a coin toss. I lost it. That means my opponents get to decide if they want to receive or if they want to kick the ball. We're going to go to dice log and see. They decided to receive. And we are going to get some things up here. Okay, so it's my turn to set up because I'm going to kick the ball to the Chaos Dwarf team here. I've got 2 minutes to set up. There are some rules towards this. I need to put at least 3 players on the LOS. The LOS stands for the line of scrimmage, but most people just say the LOS. The LOS are these 7 squares here at the front of our side of the pitch. The ones here in the wide zones, this is the wide zone, and this is the wide zone, they do not count towards the LOS, and we're only allowed to have 2 players in the wide zone when we set up. In cases like this, I usually go with my very traditional setup, which I think I've explained in another beginner's guide. But it's basically a very wide defensive line. And the reason I do this is because I'm pretty fast, but also, let's see here. Yeah, it's a bit laggy for some reason. I don't know why. And we are defending, so I think I'm actually going to swap my catcher out. Let's see. Do we have a person with kick on our team? No, we don't. Okay. So, this is the lineup I usually go with. Every turn, you can do what's called a blitz. That means you get to move a guy and then block or hit someone else. You can only do 1 of those per turn, and there are 8 turns in every half, and there are 2 halves in a game. That means that if my guys are not standing next to anyone else, they can punch 1 person. We don't want these guys to punch as much, so we're going to try and stay out of their way. We are going to try and not base as many players as possible. And basing refers to having your guy stand next to someone else. So these 3 guys here, they're currently basing these 4 guys over here. Well, now 5 guys. Strength, as I said before, is very important in Blood Bowl when it comes to blocking. Because if you're blocking someone else and you have more strength than that person, you get to roll 2 block dice. And the block dice are the dice that decide on what happens in a block. You can get knocked down, you can knock yourself down, and you can push people backwards, are the different results, and then there are some skills that can modify that. For example, these guys all have block, which means if you see both down result, which is a POW and a skull, so it's a star, open star and a skull, that means both go down, unless the players that go down on both go down have block, in which case they stand up. So a person with block is actually is much more likely to knock someone else down that doesn't have block, because they have an extra result on the die that that can knock them down. I just did a kick here, and it failed spectacularly. I didn't even land on their side of the pitch. So they get to decide who holds onto the ball. Otherwise, if it's scattered on the pitch, they would have to try and pick it up. I tried to kick in the middle, and unfortunately it's scattered, because you roll a scatter die, which decides on a result, and then you roll a d6, and the d6 goes, well, you can move however many squares in that direction. Okay, so we're doing some blocks here. The dwarves are doing their best to block me down. As you can see, they've got... Oh, wow, this is a lot of defender downs. That's an open star. That means push said player back and lay him down, and then you roll armor value. Armor value, if you roll more than the player has in armor value, which in my case is 8. So if the dwarfs roll 9, they get to roll on the injury. They get to roll an injure roll. And if they roll high enough on that, which 8 or more, they can take that player that got injured off the field. If they roll less, the player gets stunned and just turned over. In this case, I can stand my guys up next turn and it'll be fine. And the dwarves are currently, for some reason, well, the dwarves are really slow, as we can see down here. They've got movement 4, strength 3, agility 2. So they're really bad at handling the ball. So they just want to... They want to take it slow and basically beat the shit out of me. They are going to try and score on turn 8, if possible. I am going to try and not let them do that. But before I do anything else, I'm going to stand my guys up. These guys are going to get hit. But I feel like it's better to waste a few of the dwarfs' turn. So these guys have block as well, so they are actually less likely to get hit. Let's see if there's any guard here. There's some guard, which is a skill that I'll explain shortly because it's kind of important. There we go. My ogre managed to stand up. He has bonehead, which means that he's only allowed to move after I've rolled in a die, a d6 die. And if I roll 2 or more, I can move him like normal. If I roll a 1, he's too stupid to do anything, so he doesn't actually... Well, he just stays put, basically. Now, tackle zones. As you can probably see here, there's a lot of yellow squares all around. That means that that's my opponent's tackle zones. Tackle zones are important, because if you're standing in someone's tackle zone, you can block them if it's your turn and they've been standing there. It's also important for giving assists, which I've covered in another video. But, for example, this hobgoblin here, he's got dirty player and it's got strength 3. If I want to blitz him down with this blitzer here, it's going to be a 1-die block because we're both strength 3. But if I move, say, this guy up first, he's going to give an assist if I blitz with this guy. Because if you have a person just standing around, not in any other enemy tackle zone than that one, then you get a plus to your strength, which is really good. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to see if I can explain less of the rules, because I think most of you got it covered, and I'm going to try and explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know that the dwarves are really... They're not good at handling the ball, basically. So, what I want to do is try and have one of my players stand next to the hobgoblin with the ball. I can't really blitz him, because that's going to be difficult. But I can block someone next. My hope here was that I'd push him back with a defender down or defender stumbles, but I didn't. I used block instead, which means I'm put here, because if it's a defender down, I can follow up, because then you push someone back. Now, instead, I'm going to have to risk an extra GFI, which I did already, but there we go. Now I've got a blitzer standing next to the hobgoblin. The reason I want to do that is because now the Chaos Dwarfs, they want to block me down here, which they're going to do a lot, but they can't... They need to do something about this blitzer as well, because otherwise I might steal the ball next turn. So what they're going to do here is probably block all the guys here that were earlier on the LOS and try and hurt some people, like they just did. My lineman just got knocked out. That means he can come back in the next drive. So after either of us has scored or the half is over, he can come back if I roll a 4+ on a d6, but I do have a Bloodweiser Babe, which gives a +1 to that roll, so in essence I need to roll a 3+ or more. So it's kind of likely that he'll come back, but yeah, so here we go. This dwarf's going to run back and probably blitz this blitzer. Unfortunately, or luckily for me, he didn't knock me down, he just pushed me back. That means they're both still here, and the dwarves have to kind of make some kind of cage to protect the hobgoblin again. And it seems to me like he's probably gonna... Oh, no, okay. I thought he would hand off to this hobgoblin because this is a pretty not great place to stand. But he did manage to knock down my ogre again, which is not great. And the ogre got stunned, which means they broke armor value, but then didn't roll high enough to knock him out. So he's still on the pitch, but next turn he's just going to flip over, and then the turn after that I can stand him up. The Chaos Dwarfs currently have a bit of a problem here, because I can run in here and blitz this guy with this blitzer. Now, this guy gives an assist, and this guy gives an assist as well, so it's not that great at the moment. I need to stand some linemen up so that that doesn't happen. If I manage to move some linemen over... Now, see, there's a lineman here standing in this guy's tackle zone, so he can't give an assist, and this guy's can't give an assist here either. So now I can blitz with this guy. This is going to be a one-die block, which the hobgoblin doesn't have any skills that can stop. So I knock him down on a defender down, defender stumbles, which is the POW with an exclamation point, and the both down. So about 50% chance to do that. I'm going to move one blitzer over here just to cover in case of a pushback. And let's see. Yeah, let's do this. And we'll see how it goes. Let's re-roll it. Let's risk it. And that was risky. Maybe I wouldn't have advised it, but I want to put the hurt on the Chaos Dwarfs right here. I want them to have to get the ball rather than protect the ball. And in this case, this has been working out. I could have pushed this blocker onto the ball here, but I didn't really want it to scatter again. I thought it scattered enough. Let's see. Do you have anything? No. The question is, do I want to do a one-die block? A one-die block is pretty risky in that you can roll, and I already used my re-roll. So in this case, I'm actually not going to block here. I'm just going to have to take the hits and hope that the Chaos Dwarfs blockers don't hurt me too much and that they actually care about trying to get the ball. When you're playing against a bashy team, you can either try and stay away and do what's called a screen, which I'm not going to do with this team because humans aren't really super great at it. But if you're playing with an elf team, they're pretty good. So you can either do that. Oh, that's... so he pushed me onto the ball, and then it scattered over here, which is really good for me because it's further away from these guys, and I still have two blitzers standing next to the ball. Well, a blitzer and a lineman, but that means two people, because if the more tackle zones there are on the ball from the enemy team, the harder it is to pick up. You get a -1 to the die roll for each player just standing around. So that's really good for me. You know, he's going to try and put some people next here as well. Oh, and he's probably going to... Yeah, he's going to push me onto the ball again. No, he's not. And the reason he didn't... It's probably because if it scattered, it could have scattered over here where there aren't as many dwarfs. Now, some people might wonder why I keep calling them dwarfs rather than Chaos Dwarfs. And basically, it's a Blood Bowl thing that you do. Like, for some reason, they've always, as far as I know, they've always been called dwarfs. Because it's kind of insulting in the one who likes dwarfs. Okay, so that's his turnover. He's got two players around here. I'm going to stand my ogre up because the ogre's annoying. And I'm going to stand this guy up. And I'm also going to stand these guys up. I don't want to dodge, which requires a roll to do. But more importantly, the reason I'm standing people up here is, yes, they're going to get hit next turn. But it stops these blockers from going somewhere else because they're even worse at... dodging than I am. Now, I am going to try, I think... Yeah, I'm going to try and do something here that's called a chain push. And that means if you block someone, like I'm going to have to blitz here, which is a one die, once again, risky. If you block someone, you push them back. And you push them back into 3 squares behind them. if those squares are all filled with players, you get to push the player in said square back as well. This means that I can remove a bunch of players that I don't want hanging around the ball. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to jump up and blitz this guy and hopefully push him back this way so I can put this chaos blocker over here. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. That was excellent. That was way better than I'd hoped for. I'd hoped for a push because what happens now is that I've... yes, I would like to follow up. So I've knocked this guy down, which means that all of these guys are no longer standing in tackle zones. The reason that's super great is because they all give assists. And this Bull Centaur is strength 4 usually, but now, since I have 3 assists on him, I get 2 die blocks, which I really like. And I have block, he doesn't. That means like he's both down. So I'm going to block him down, and that worked excellent once again. And I'm going to move this guy up here so that these guys are kind of stuck. And then I'm going to try and pick the ball up and just run away. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to threaten over here. I don't want to risk too much. And he doesn't really have anyone that can... Well, he can run over and block me down. But to do that, he's going to have to do a dodge. He's going to have to move out of my tackle zone, and that requires a roll, which is risky. So I'm pretty pleased about that, actually. And now, let's see here. I can do a 1-die block here because I haven't used a reroll, so I'm going to do that because I don't actually mind him being knocked down as much. Let's see, who do I want to block with here? That's the question. I'm going to block with my lineman because I care less about him. That is bad, so I'm going to reroll that. And that's really good. Okay. No. The reason I'm not following up is because I want to move my lineman here up to stop anyone from like running around. And now this isn't a 1-die. This isn't a trade anymore. He's got 2 dudes up here. So I've effectively stolen the ball on his drive. And at the start of the next half, he's going to kick to me. So if I can hold out now for the rest of the half, which is 4 more turns, which might be tricky. We'll see how it goes. I might try and score early, or I'm going to do what's called a stall, which means I'm going to just stay away from him so that he can't actually get the ball and use my movement to stop him from doing anything. Okay, so he cleared out both my guys here. The reason he did that is because one of his guys got guard, which is a skill that allows you to always give an assist, even if you're standing in someone else's tackle zone. So his guys was actually strength 4, whereas my guys were just strength 3. But we're going to see if he can actually threaten the ball carrier or not. He's probably going to dodge out with this guy that's got break tackle. Break tackle allows you to use strength instead of agility when you're dodging out. So he's going to dodge out on a 2+, which he did. But he didn't manage to knock me down. He might reroll that. Yes, he did. Okay, so he knocked me down. But this is once again in one of those cases, and the reason I'm doing this is, yes, I'm taking quite a bit. Oh wow, I did not expect. Well, there's no point in him not trying, I guess. But that was very unlikely for that to happen. So we might have to do some risky stuff. Oh, well, that helps. And my nose is really itchy now. So it's time to do some cover because he has the ball again. But it's gone 4 turns. He hasn't scored, and I've got a lot of dudes left on the pitch. So I'm not too worried about the situation, at least not yet. I'm going to stand some guys up here. I'm going to stand this guy up as well. And let's see. Now this guy's free to move. So I'm going to place this guy over here. I'm going to have to do a dodge out and a blitz here to try and knock this guy down. But now I've added the assist first. And the reason you do this is because it's safer. Also, I could have tried to dodge first and have this guy have the assist and then run in with the other guy and blitz. But this requires a roll here. So I want to do everything that's semi-safe first so I can do the risky bit last. Yeah. Is there anything else we want to do currently? Kind of want to knock this guy down, but I don't want to do that yet. I think this is the safer play here. So we're going to see if we can do this. Oh, and we could. Are we going to re-roll it? Yeah, let's do it. And we got pretty lucky again there. But then I did a GFI and I rolled a 1, so the guy got knocked down and knocked out, which was that was a risky play from me. I probably shouldn't have done it, but you know, you kind of want to put pressure on. I'm trying to. I'm going against what I should be doing. I should be playing it safe, just to show you guys how to play as safe as possible and get a good result on what you want. And instead, I'm just trying to go for the win here, doing riskier stuff than I should have. So I'm going to try and stop doing that and just try and stop him from scoring this half, which is actually the more important bit. But I do have... oh, wow. I did not. I expected him to push upwards here because there are still three tackle zones from my side on the ball. Oh, okay. Wow. And he failed to pick that up. And so he pushed both of these guys onto the ball, which I found kind of slightly alarming. And someone's sending me messages, and I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so 2 tackle zones on the ball. Currently, we'll see how this goes. Hobgoblin knocked down the splitzer here. Like I said, I'm going to try and play it a bit safer now. So rather than, you know, having, rather than trying to score, I'm going to try and stop him from scoring. We'll see. This is... okay. Okay, so... I said I was going to play it a bit safer, but I feel like probably here, unfortunately, or other, the safer... I kind of fucked that up, didn't I? Yeah, I did. What I should have done is I should have moved this guy over here, because then I'd gotten a 2-die assist here. So, unfortunately, I fucked that up, so now I'm going to have to do something... oh, I can do this instead. This is better. The reason this is better is because it's 2 dice both, but my guy has a reroll, which the ogre doesn't because he's an idiot. Okay, so we knocked him down. Let's see if we can move the ogre over here to cover up the mistake I made. Yeah, we could. Okay, so I'm gonna blitz here and block this hobgoblin into the ball. Whoever rolls a 6 first basically catches the ball. But I'm better at handling the ball than he is, so there we go. Do you have guard? Yes, you do. Okay. So there's a lot of... this guy has guard, which is not great for me. Because, well... it allows him to give an assist, and he's making everyone else here a bit stronger. As you can see, that everyone's basically standing around and saying that, no, you're not allowed to give an assist to this guy. But we have a guard guy here, and he's like, I can give assist to whoever I want. So the question I have to decide on is, do I want to... and I probably do, actually. So I'm gonna... because my lineman has block as well. So all I want to do is push him away, which I do... unless I roll a skull. I can do that, and I think it's actually worth it. So we're gonna try that. That was good enough. No, I don't want to follow up here because I want to make sure I just got rid of this guard. So now, since this guy's assist is blocked by this guy, I have 2 on this bull center again. So we are gonna push him back here and follow up. And the reason we do that is because now I can surf him with my blitzer over here. Which I really like doing. Because if you push someone off the pitch, they are out for the rest of the drive. So now he's down 1 bull centaur. Which I am currently enjoying immensely, actually. And that is all I'm going to do. Because, like I said, he doesn't have much agility. The dwarf blockers have agility too. So the only people that can really pick the ball up at this point are the hobgoblins. And the hobgoblins don't have block. So I can knock them down a bit easier. But we'll see. We have two players with tackle zones on the ball. And he doesn't have anyone that's basing them at the start of his drive. That means he can only do 1 blitz and knock one of them away. So the question then becomes, who is he going to block? Blitz. Probably this guy. And as we've seen before, he likes to scatter the ball around. So what he's probably looking to do is run this dwarf blocker in. That's a smart move because now he's got a tackle on the ball. Yeah, blitz this lineman and push him onto the ball. And then have it scatter somewhere where I don't have tackle zones. Unfortunately, that's not one of those places. Now he's got this hobgoblin free that can run and go stand somewhere. People are still sending me messages, which is slightly alarming. Well. Okay, and now we're doing blocks over here, which is fine. He followed up, which I didn't think he would because he probably wants... And he didn't do anything over here, which is actually kind of strange because this is a better return for him because I don't have block. And he still has 2 rerolls, whereas I'm out. Let's see. Where is your guard guy? Is your guard guy here? Yeah, he is. Okay. So that means we can actually get rid of some dwarfs here, hopefully. So we're going to try and do that. Yes, let's follow up. Because that means we can move some more guys in here. Now the question is, what do we do about this ball here? Because this ball is currently slightly alarming. That's not the guard guy. Oh, and I moved up. That was probably kind of a mistake by me. My guy has block but no reroll, so the question is, I am not actually quite sure what to do here. But I think I'm gonna do something slightly different here, because I need to get around here somehow. So I'm moving the ogre in here to give an assist, and then I can blitz over here. Because remember, he's the guy that wants to... oh, that is excellent. I should have pushed this Chaos Dwarf Walker here, by the way. That was a mistake by me. Oh, and he used his Apothecary to make him stay on the pitch. That was not smart. Because there's still so much left of the turn. But if he wants to do that, then that's fine. I'm going to move this lineman over here, actually. To see if we can get a result here. And we could. Now the question is, what do I do about this? Who do I want to move? Or do I want to move anyone? I think... No, we're going to play it safe. And if I'd had a reroll, I could have blocked one of these guys, because it's one die block, and once again, this guy's block. But the thing is, if I fail and get a skull, that's going to be so good for him that I don't actually dare to do it. He can surf my lineman here by blocking that way and then using that guy to push him out. But I actually care less about the lineman than I care about protecting the ball. And remember, it's only 2 turns left, so he needs to pick the ball up this turn and then run it down. And he's really slow. So we're going to play it safe. And then we're going to have a quick look over here and see 1 Hobgoblin out on Bull Centaur and another Hobgoblin on the sidelines. And he used his Apothecary too. Yeah. Okay, so he managed to knock the ball out, which is actually quite... Oh, that's bad, though. We'll see where it ends up. That is still okay for me, actually, because all of his guys are tied up. Pretty much. But yeah, so what happened was that he pushed my guy onto the ball, and the ball scattered, so it lands in one of the squares surrounding the guy. Unfortunately, it landed in one of the squares off the pitch, and what happens then is that it's thrown in again. So either straight in, diagonally like that, or diagonally like that. And what happened was that it was thrown in diagonally, ended up over here, scattered out again, and then was thrown in over here. Okay, so he's probably going to blitz the thrower and then try and pick this up. And he might actually do that. Okay, so he knocked him down. And he's got 5 movement. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, so he's positioning himself so that he might be able to score next turn. But he still needs someone to pick the ball up at some point. Oh, he's got this hobgoblin over here that I had completely disregarded. We'll see if he might try and do the pass right now. If he does, he's probably going to move over here. Maybe I'm allowed to intercept. Oh, and he failed the GFI and dropped it. Okay, so that's really good for me. Really bad for him. Now we're going to see if we can get some value out of this. Fortunately not. At least not right now. My thrower wants to pick this up. So the question is, how do we do this best? We don't have any block. So this is probably this is the safest bit to actually do first, but I don't want to do that yet because I want to knock this guy down so I can move the lineman up or to protect the ball. I'm going to have to do it with this guy. Okay, so that wasn't good enough, unfortunately. So we're going to have to keep doing this. And now we pick this up. Let's see, how far can you get? You can do. It costs you 3 movement to get up. So he's going to have 4 next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's actually too far away to score. But that's not the most important bit. The most important bit is to stop the Chaos Dwarfs from scoring. And the thrower managed to do that. So we're gonna make sure that they can't score. And the way to do that is to actually punt it. So we're gonna punt it up here. And they shouldn't be able to run over there and catch it. Because if you just left it there, they could have blitzed my thrower, and then used this hobgoblin again to pick it up and pass to the bull centaur, which is a bit unlikely. It's difficult to do, but this way, the only guy in range is this Chaos Dwarf, and the Chaos Dwarf is, as we've talked about before, pretty horrible at doing agility. Unfortunately, one more of my guys got KO'd there because I had to take a beating just to protect myself from him scoring. But the reason you do that is because I'm going to receive next turn, and if I score quickly or slow, I'm going to be 1 touchdown up, which is really important because it forces the other player to either decide, don't want to try and win. That means I have to score twice in 1 half, which is very difficult for the Chaos Dwarfs. Or am I going to go for the tie, in which case, well, that's a tie. And I still have a half, well, not a half because I've scored, but I still have a bunch of turns to try and steal the ball, which I've successfully done once already. Oh, and he fell down. Let's see, can this guy get over there? I don't think he can. I could have... No, he definitely can't. Now, I could have just tried to do a few GFIs over here and then passed it. The reason I didn't is because I wanted to Well, it's pretty simple, actually. Oh, Ogre Boneheaded. That's not what I wanted. Because I might have failed my GFIs and fallen down, and then the ball would have ended up over here, which is a bad place for me. Wow. Okay, so that's a double skull, which happens from time to time, and I don't have a reroll, so I'm going to have to accept my fate and get knocked down. But that's the end of the first half. Okay, so that's playing... I guess I would call it... Oh, look at that. Everyone came back. Thanks. Excellent. That means we still have a team. He's down one Hobgoblin, but I do think he has a spare. So he should have 11 players. Let's see here. I get a +1 from my Bloodweiser Babe. Didn't matter because they rolled 5-5-6, so it's all good. But yeah, that's probably what I would call an aggressive defense. I looked at the opposing team and like, you do not have much in the way of handling the ball. You do have a lot in the way of protecting the ball, but if I can get in there and knock the ball loose, you're going to have way more trouble picking it up than I would ever have. So I'm going to try and knock it down and stop you from scoring that way. Put the pressure on my opponent to protect the ball properly and roll slowly. And now it's my turn. And let's see, and I've got my catcher in again. This turn I actually want my catcher because my catcher is really fast. Unfortunately, my catcher is strength 2, which is not great. Now, the good thing with the humans is that it's pretty obvious who you want to pick the ball up with, which is the thrower, because he's got pass and sure hands. So he's actually good at passing and throwing. On a team like the Chaos Dwarfs here, they don't have a thrower as such. They have to look at the Hobgoblins, which have agility 3. So what usually happens is that you decide on a player and go, okay, so this player is now my ball carrier, and then you just let that guy, well, carry the ball around pretty much. He's putting everyone around here, so I'm going to push this side. And I'm actually going to move another player back here just to protect with the ball, because I do know that he has a kick player, so he might kick it deep. Kick means that the rather than rolling a d6, you roll a d6 and then you half it, basically. Actually, it doesn't quite work like that. If you roll a 1 on the d6, it doesn't move anywhere. And if you roll a 6, it moves 3 squares, and then you got 2, 3, and moves at 1, and 4, 5 moves at 2. Okay, so we are pushing this way. That's why we've got the catcher here. I am actually looking to score quickly because I want that extra bit of security that comes with being a touchdown down. And I'm gonna move this lineman over here. The reason I'm moving diagonally like this is because once the ball, if I fail to pick it up, it's gonna scatter into one of these squares. And the most risky ones for the opponent to pick it up are the front ones here. And I'm going to move this blitzer back as well to protect the other. So if I fail to pick it up, they are... Oh, dear. No, I do not want to talk to them right now. So that's my own fault for not putting myself away. But if it scatters back here, my opponent still needs to go around my players to get to the ball. So this is basically the safest way you can protect the ball. It's much safer than just placing one here. But that's why you do that. And there's a guard guy here somewhere, because otherwise I would have gotten 2 dice here. Now I don't, because this guy has a guard, so I'm gonna have to use the ogre's extra strength to do something about that. But right now I want to get rid of this bull centaur. Now the bull centaur is strong, he's got strength 4, but I have 1 assist, 2 assists, and I'm now strength 3. So when I block here, I'm gonna be strength 5, which is 1 more. And I knock him down, and I'm going to put him next to this blitzer, so he's still based, so that he can't run after me once I move up. And I'm going to place this blitzer over here. The reason I do that is because I want to make it slightly difficult for the Chaos Dwarfs, since they're not very fast, to get to my catcher, which I'm kind of signaling like, yeah, he's going to get a pass, and then he's going to run in to score. But what I might actually be doing is giving it to the Blitzer if they decide to go for the catcher. Because remember, there's only one Blitz per turn. So they have to decide, do I want to run all the way around here? This Hobgoblin can definitely do it. Because remember, this catcher is only strength 2. And the reason I'm not putting him over here where he would have been safer is that he might get surfed if I place him over there. And that's risky. I guess I could have placed him back here. And he would have been pretty safe for a surf because of how movement works and stuff like that. But now I'm going to try and pick the ball up. And that worked great. What I usually do when stuff like this happens, I look at the movement of the players. And I know that the Chaos Dwarfs are really slow. The Hobgoblins are also pretty slow. You can see how far they can move maximum. These guys are faster. So I can, if I run over here, he can't get to me. Because he has to, well, he might be able to go vroom. But it's quite unlikely. And the reason I want to be over here is because I'm further to this side. Here it's, I would have been closer, but he could have just used the Bull Centaur, blitz this corner down, and I would have been based, and I would have to dodge, and I don't want to dodge. So now we're going to see if we can do something about this LOS here. So I used the Ogre first, which is always a risk, because remember, he's bad at rerolls, but it worked out. And he knocked the guard guy down, which means we can... we now have assists when we move people up here, so we get 2 die blocks on everyone, which is really good. And I'm going to move this whole line back. This also frees up this Blitzer to go stand. Let's see. Oh, that's the guard guy. So we're going to have him stand over here. Putting more cover over here because I'm signaling very hard that I want to go to the left here because and it also stops a hole in my line here. If the Blitzer wasn't here, he could have run this Dwarf Blocker around this way and the Hobgoblin down as well. And now, well, they can't. So that was I'm feeling really bad for my opponent because I'm playing super slow. But it gives him a lot of time to think about what he wants to do, I guess. Okay, so move the Hobgoblin up here. And that means he's going to go for the Blitzer instead. And then just base the catcher. Probably. To make sure that he doesn't... So making it much more difficult for him to... for the catcher to catch the ball. Which... oh, and he didn't... I think he could have... No, well, I don't think he could have, actually. Okay, so he's based the catcher now. The reason he moved a Chaos Dwarf Blocker over is because they have Tackle. Tackle is a skill that negates Dodge. Dodge allows you to re-roll a failed Dodge attempt. It also lets you, if someone blocks you and you get the Defender Stumbles, which is the POW with the exclamation point, if you have Dodge, that counts as a pushback rather than a POW. So it's good defensively, unless your opponent has Tackle, in which case it doesn't actually do much. So he decided to go base me, which was, I'll be honest, kind of a bit what I wanted, because I am not going to go that way. We'll see here, because he's committed a lot of players over here. I'm going to get rid of this Bull Centaur by blitzing him away. I'm not going to follow up because I don't want to. There we go. So that's done. This guy gets to stand up. And... let's see. How far can you run? You can run over here. Now we're going to move this thrower up here. This is a pretty unsecure cage because you can have someone run in here and do a blitz. I'm not too worried because he needs to get over here, he needs to run around this blitzer. Okay, that's a pushback. That's fine. I'm going to follow up. And we are Let's see here. What do we want to do? We're going to do a 1-die block here. Because if I can get rid of his hobgoblins, then that's pretty okay. I would have loved something else, but I'm not going to re-roll that because I need my re-rolls. So we're kind of stuck here. That was good, though. That actually, it wasn't good. It was lucky. Now, I do have higher armor value, so I'm less likely to get injured, but it's not by much. And he can, if he wants to, surf my catcher now, which is looking like he wants to do. So he's going to push him over here and then use the hobgoblin to smack him into the side. Yeah, there we go. So the only way for me to survive here is that he either forgets to block or rolls a skull and both down, because this guy doesn't have block, whereas my catcher does. But that's still a bit scary, and that is over here. So that's really good. He didn't manage to knock my lineman down, and he finally did, but at that point this guy had already moved. That means that there aren't that many dudes over here that can do a thing towards these 4 guys over here. It's got the hobgoblin, but the hobgoblin isn't really good enough. Okay, and that's my catcher being surfed and KO'd, unfortunately. But we should still... Well, we are up... we're up 1 player at the moment, I think. Well, we're up in the sense that... Yeah, actually, we are up 1 player at the moment because KO is the worst that has happened. Okay, and he's probably going to go stand over here. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to have to decide what to do. This guy's going to have to stand up. And we are going to blitz again. And then we are going to run over here and base this dwarf blocker. And I think... we are, afterwards, we are gonna, let's see here. These guys are basically out of position. As you can see, they can't really go very far, which is fine by me. I do want to do this block here, but it's actually less important currently than moving my guy up. The thing I'm debating right now is whether I want to... pass to the blitzer, because I can run this blitzer up here and I can pass to him, but it's actually it's a 3+ roll to catch it, probably, so it's a bit of a risky move, but it does mean he's a bit further away, but he's not actually far enough away from this hobgoblin, so the other option is to go over here and base the hobgoblin so that the hobgoblin's going to have to dodge out, which is probably actually the better move here. So we're just going to run this guy up. Now I'm going to have to look at how far this guy can run, because he's going to blitz and then... Okay, so we are going to do 1 GFI to be safe. We had the reroll, so that's why we did that. Oh, and that's excellent. That's just what we wanted. And we knocked another one down. The reason this is important is because we're blocking these dwarf blockers' path this way. The hobgoblin can still dodge out here. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if he wants to. But it's not super likely. The question is, do I want to... Like, these they can't get anywhere near here. So that's why I'm not too worried about them. And this hobgoblin can't really go very far either. So we are actually going to leave it like this. And we'll see what he's going to do. What he might do is he might, and it's probably quite likely, that he's going to use a blitz with one of these Chaos Dwarf blockers. And blitz probably this guy. And then use that movement, hopefully push him back. Or not push him back, just push him out of range. So then he can actually run... and go base my thrower again. Okay, but yeah, he's still busy over here, trying to, or actually knocking my guys out. The reason I'm okay with this is because, oh, and he failed his. Okay, yeah. So he had to use a reroll there, which was really good because he only has 2. And now he's gonna knock that guy down, and then he's gonna follow up and go stand. He's probably gonna go. He should go stand over here. Okay. No, that's okay too. Wow. And that was very lucky. But as you can see, he's doing risky stuff now, which is good for me. Okay, so let's see. What do we want to do here? Unfortunately, we probably need to commit this blitzer over here just to protect. That's not going to be enough. We're going to have to wait with that, actually. Oh, I can do that. Ooh, that would have been sneaky, but I'm not going to. So the question is, what do I do? Well, I still have the ball, which is a good start. And I do have, remember, I have 1 blitz. So the question is, how do you use that blitz? What I can do is I can run over with my ogre if I manage to knock this guy down. Which I didn't. I'm not going to reroll that because you don't reroll safe blocks. So what I'm probably going to try to do, actually what I am going to try to do, is I'm going to have to dodge out with this guy. So I need my reroll for that. And then pass it somewhere over here. But that means I need to have this blitzer go be somewhere else. And the question is then, how do I do that? I do that, I think, by moving the ogre over here. No, that's not going to be enough. Oh, wow. Okay. So that was really good and unexpected. What I'm trying to do is I want to free this blitzer up. So I knocked one of the guys out. Or I just wanted to knock him down because now this guy's free. And this hobgoblin here, they can get the ball next turn, but at least. So we're gonna see if this is a thing that can happen. Yeah. Okay. So the dodge went fine. That's risky. And now we're gonna throw it over here, if possible. And I fumbled it. So it's going to reroll because I have pass selected. So we'll see what happens. And I failed. However, it's... so that's not good. But I have more guys around here, which is good for me. And like I said, I am better at handling the ball than he is. And I still have some guys here in the back as well. So he's probably going to try and pick it up with the hobgoblin. That's what I would have done. Or he might block here, run this bull center over, then pick it up with the hobgoblin and do a handoff. That's probably the safest move. But it's still on his side. He doesn't have any threat right now. He can definitely turn this around and steal the ball. He did threaten me because well... Yeah, okay. Okay, so he decided to base my blitzer instead. Oh, wow. Okay, and the reason he went around was because he wanted to be sure that this hobgoblin was free. If he'd blocked from this way and he pushed me, I would have ended up over here or here. That's bad for him and good for me. He's probably going to push me over here. Yeah. So this guy's going to try and pick the ball up. Unfortunately, he doesn't have much movement elsewhere. So he can either hand it all. Okay. That was a bit strange. So he's desperately trying to protect the ball now. Okay, so he probably should have left him here, actually, because of more protection. So we are going to start with you standing up. And I think this guy's going to blitz the guy. Oh, and my ogre wanted to move. That was very nice, because now I can hopefully, if I knock this guy down, yes. Okay, so now I have an assist on the hobgoblin here. And if I move the thrower in over here, I remove these two tackle zones, because they can't give assists now, because I'm stopping. But I still have an assist over here. So now I need to free up this blitzer to get in there. And the best way to do this is to push this guy. Yeah, so I don't have block, so I'm going to have to push him. Right, push him over here. Because that moves all of his tackle zones over one, and I now have a free path for the blitz. And that's a POW. And let's see, where do we want it? We want it... No, we want it over here. Okay. So we're now in the thick of things, and we can't really do much. So I'm going to have to hope that I can knock this guy down, which I couldn't. So we're going to follow. Follow, and let's see. And we're going to keep blocking this guy. And the reason I blocked him over here is because now at least that guy's free. We are going to try and do a dodge here. Let's see if we can pick it up, because that would have been really neat. Oh, and we managed to dodge again. It's a 3+ roll. I rolled a 1. I do have rerolls, and it's on... Well, we've got 3 turns left after this. We have 3. It's worth to try and pick it up. And I did. Which is really good. And I think we're actually going to risk a GFI... let's see, this way. And we made it. The reason we risked a GFI is because, well, actually, we're going to risk another one. There we go. Okay, so the reason I did that was because I picked it up. But if I'd stayed put there, this hobgoblin could have jumped up and blitzed me. This guy doesn't have anything, neither does the hobgoblin, but I wanted to secure it a bit, and I felt the risk was kind of worth it. I could have gone this way instead. The reason I didn't is because if he dodges out, he's still going to have enough movement to block me. And in cases like that, I'm not sure they'd be standing next to people that have, you know, tackle zones. Okay, and he used a break tackle, and he's going to try and push me back, which he did. Oh, and that would have... Well, it is slightly horrible. But this bull centaur can't reach because the ogre's tackle zones are in the way, and he's already used his break tackle once, so and he can't really run around. But he's just going to stand there and block. But my ogre doesn't really care because my ogre's really strong. Okay, that's a push. That's actually good for me because it opens this thrower up. But we'll see here. He might actually... I still feel like I'm in pretty good shape, but he's definitely making it hard for me to score. And that's partly because I didn't go the super safe route of doing a cage and then slowly moving it down. And the reason I didn't do that is because he has a really good counter to that, and that's called Chaos Dwarf blockers. They are slow, so playing a slow-moving game actually benefits them more because they're much better at blocking and stuff like that. End of match imminent. Okay, so he didn't do anything else, and there are actually no tackle zones on the ball. This is very interesting. So You almost never want to start with the ogre, but in this case... I think we're actually going to have to do that. Yeah. That's unfortunate because the ogre might bonehead, but he didn't. Good, good. Now we're going to move him over there. That means he's free to move next turn. But it also gives us a chance to knock this hobgoblin down. Which we did. And now we can use our blitz to see if we can get rid of this hobgoblin, which we could. It was excellent. We're going to move him here, so he's still in a tackle zone. Oh, nice. He got... Oh, we killed him. That's a risk with hobgoblins. They are really squishy. But it also means we can place the blitzer over here, making it really hard for the bull centaur, this guy that has break tackle, so he's good at dodging, to, you know, dodge out. This lineman managed to pick it up again, and we're gonna give him 1 GFI this way. And the reason we do that is because he's still probably gonna blitz his way out here, and now I'm a bit safer because otherwise he could have just blocked and been next to my guy. Okay, so this guy, we're more worried about the blockers that are closer to us. So that's why I ran up here to give an assist. And then we can put this guy over here, and we'll have the thrower free to be able to do some more blocking. And the other ones, I don't care about. Because they are, once again, they're basing the chaos blockers. They might get hurt, but he hasn't been throwing a lot of one-die blocks. I guess he's, as he should be, worried about them. He is better at them than in my guys, though, because he does have block, and many of my players don't. But it's still, even if you have block, it's a 2-die, and he only has 2 rerolls, so he doesn't want to waste them. He wants to use them for more important stuff. And having my guys next to him, calculated risk. They might get knocked out. But having them this far away means that I don't have to worry about them dodging, because they're not going to. Except this guy, for some reason, that shouldn't be dodging. But he is. That was really good, though. That less so. But he doesn't have anyone that can pick the ball up. He's only got this hobgoblin over here. And the hobgoblin, well, he's going to have a hard time getting there. Let's put it that way. Okay. So, my thrower's free. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand all of these guys up again. It's turn 15. And they are dodging way more than they should be. But that also means that I'm forcing him to do risky plays, which he otherwise probably wouldn't have done. And I'm going to blitz with my ogre. No, I don't want to follow up. Because I do actually have a play here where I can block or push and then follow up, and now there's a hobgoblin. So that works. So now we're going to see. This is risky because he might not do it, but it's less risky than trying to dodge out. But we'll see how it works. Oh, and such a well-behaved ogre. He managed to push him away. Once again, we are going to place him over here. And he used his sure hands and got a reroll. And let's see. Yeah, so this guy, if he dodges out, let's see, he has 3 movement, and then he has 3 GFI. So he can dodge out this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he can base the thrower. This guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8. So he can blitz the thrower here. We still have a reroll. And at this point, it's actually worth it to try and score. Because we have seen our opponent dodge a lot with those guys. And if you have break tackle, he's going to do a 2+ dodge. And he's stronger than me. And I'd much rather do a 2+ roll now than try and move everyone over again and get the ball free. Especially since he's only got 2 turns left. Wow. And he doesn't have many hobgoblins left, if any. Let's see, does he have... Oh, he's got 1 hobgoblin left. Okay, so we're up 1, and now he has 2 turns to try and score, which is very difficult if you're if you're a slow team like Chaos Dwarfs. And we also have a full team, which is really helping us at the moment. And once again, I'm doing this wide, safe play. The main reason for that is because, well, I don't want his bull centaurs to run around the side, because he's probably going to do a pass play. And that means we have everything that we can set up. Okay, hopefully I've been a bit informative of why I'm doing stuff and how I'm doing it. I know that once you start looking at this game, it takes a while before you see what's actually going on, but I would advise everyone to read the rules book, not the manual. The rules book, it's in your installation folder. It's called Competitive Rules or something like that. And really, the most important thing when it comes to Blood Bowl is actually learning how tackle zones work. And like I said earlier, I have a tutorial on that, so you can look at that and just grasp it like visually, and work from there. Once getting to know the risk of how difficult it is to pick up dice and stuff like that, yeah, that's also important. But it's like, if you want to get good quick, learn how tackle zones work and how assists work. That's probably the core. Wow, okay. So, the fans got really annoyed and threw a rock at my lineman, and he got KO'd. So that's good for the Chaos Dwarfs, especially since they're attacking on this side. I did get a really good kick, though, so the Hobgoblin's going to be able to run over there and pick it up, but he's only going to end up over here. It's going to make it a really hard pass next turn. Unfortunately, it means that he's probably going to use a bull centaur, or he might actually use dwarfs here and block a path through here, because it's going to be simpler, and then just run through. Yeah, so here we go. Yep. And he shouldn't use that. Well, he could. The reason he shouldn't, because if he gets a block there, if he gets a block both down or something like that, it would block the path for the bull centaurs. And it kind of is still, because remember, tackle zones, it doesn't show your own tackle zones, but you once you play the game a bit, you learn that, like, this blitzer here has tackle zones all the way over here. So the bull centaur, well, the break tackle one might want to run through. He didn't, though. But like, he needs to get quite far down here for a pass, actually. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so this guy can make it, but it's not. And if you're going to pass to someone and you're doing a pass play, don't put the guys next to each other, because I can just swarm over here, kind of. Well, I can't really, but because my guys got knocked down. But you want them actually at least 2 apart, because I can move this thrower, have him stand over here, and he blocks both. Okay, so let's see if the Hobgoblin manages to pick it up. No, he didn't. So that's going to make it even more difficult for him next turn. So these guys can't actually reach, so we are going to run them up over here, because he needs to. He's probably going to have to pass over them. I should have moved this guy later, by the way. But, yeah. So we'll do that. We still have 2 rerolls, but we only have... Oh, that was a mistake by me. But now it's too late. Should have used the ogre first and blocked, because this guy could have gone a bit further. But now we're not going to do that. Instead, we are going to run this thrower. Actually, we're going to run this lineman. Oh, okay, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to run this lineman down on this blocker here. And the reason we're doing that is because we could have blocked over here, but now, since we made this blitz and followed up, we have 2 people here. And we can move this guy over here now. So we actually extended our movement a bit. And that means we can move this guy over here. And we also have... yeah. And we're going to do that. So this guy can't reach. This guy can. He has one guy and a tackle slot on him. He's going to be hard to blitz stand, though, because both of these guys are lying down. They can't really... well, this guy can actually break tackle out here and surf my guy if he wants to, which he probably will. Okay, so I have Loner, making it really hard to do rerolls. But since it's my last turn and I have 2 rerolls left, I might as well use one. And it actually worked for once. Don't count on that. Like, if you're playing with big guys... don't count on them being able to use rerolls. You shouldn't really use rerolls with them. But like I said, I had rerolls to spare, so there wasn't like anything. Okay, yeah, and he made that. So now what he's going to have to do... so he's got this guy free. I could have moved my thrower. Well, actually I couldn't. There was an option to move the thrower over here instead to cover both of these guys. But if I'd done that, I wouldn't be able to knock this guy down. And he still had to do that, which he failed. So, that's the end of the game, and we GG, because that's nice to do. And our opponent didn't want to. Okay, and we got a 4. If you win, you get to reroll. If you roll a 4, there's no point in rerolling. I am not sure why we got that much money, though, but we got, like, a ton of money. Oh, what the... oh. He conceded for some reason because he has 0 winnings. I am not sure why he... did he really? No, he didn't. This is very confusing. I don't know what's going on here. Because if he conceded... this Walker stole the reroll. That was very confusing. And that's how you play Blood Bowl. I hope it's been kind of informative. I know it's been very long. But if you want more of this kind of stuff, if you want to see me play a fresh team of some kind and just talk about my choices and how I play, post comments below. And maybe this is something you can send to someone who just started playing Blood Bowl and don't really know how to think about Blood Bowl yet. Suggestions are always welcome. If there's anything you're wondering about and haven't really grasped about Blood Bowl, post a comment, send me a tweet or whatever. You will know how that works. I've been cKnoor. I love you. Bye bye bye.